Welcome to another OCD Recovery Instagram Live. I'm going to be doing a question and answers format on here today. Been a little while since I did that. Well, actually, no, it hasn't been that long a while. I think I was on here about a week or two ago doing those. So, yes, any questions you want to ask in relation to just about to sneeze at the beginning of an Instagram Live. Any questions you want to ask in relation to your OCD, please put them in the comments here and I will respond to them now. Get sent a lot of questions in relation to OCD every day and I can't answer them all by email. So I always encourage people to put them in these lives so I can have a look at things. So yeah, please start doing that. Let's have a glass of water before I start. What was I going to say whilst I wait for these questions to come in? We've been putting a lot of videos up on the YouTube channel. There's about 40 new videos gone up last month. So we're aiming to do quite a lot of these regularly by people with OCD along the recovery journey so that people can see exactly what's involved and all the different areas and the struggles that people have with OCD so they can have a look at that. Because there's so many, especially in these COVID times at the moment. There's obviously a lot more things that people want to ask and there's a lot of problems that people have and want to find out about help and information. And so many great stories, like for example, Marik's story on there about tinnitus and insomnia, covering a lot of points. There never used to be good information on tinnitus insomnia. I remember when I was suffering really badly from that. Barely find anything that really got the point. So many sort of tips and tricks on how to sleep that did the exact opposite of what you were trying to do. Kept keeping you stuck with all these sort of rituals and ideas. Let's have a look here. These questions. I get false feelings and I can't shut them off. These feelings are strong and I can't do anything about them. False feelings you don't need to do anything about. You can just leave them there. It's like anything. Say, for example, you have the flu, or I had an eye infection in the last Instagram Live. I've just recovered from an eye infection. Yeah, and the thing with it is I didn't care about it, so didn't stop me doing my work. It didn't stop me doing anything. Because it's an irrelevant. We just get on with life. It's the things that we do, and that's exactly the same for OCD. Whatever thought, feeling, anything that you have that's there, leave it to be there. Don't try and get rid of it. That's the first thing. Yes, you will need to change your philosophies in relation to certain fears and so on to help get under it. But you are not. It's not the problem that you. Although the chronic guilt and chronic anxiety latches and locks on in the background, it's not the problem that you imagine it to be, because what you tend to do, it's the same as, let me give an example. People get very scared with sleep. They think, oh my God, I'm never going to sleep again. And they get so scared of that, and then they watch whenever they're anxious and they're like, oh my God, if I'm anxious, then that means I can't sleep. So then if they sense any anxiety, then they think the cycle started again, when it actually hasn't. We can actually sleep through loads of anxiety. I used to sleep every day through chronic anxiety and chronic nightmares for years. So it's just about, it's our perception of it. And that's the same as any thoughts, feelings or anything. A large part of it is, oh my God, there's that false memory. Oh my God, there's that guilt. Oh, there's that sexual intrusive thought, whatever. It's all coming in and in and in, and that's that, and then you get scared of that. Oh my God, what if that sticks around forever? So that's all part of the problem. So you've got to be careful. You've got to watch that one. You've got to think. You've got to just observe that one. Think, well, I don't need to get rid of it. It can stay there. That's fine. Don't have to be rid of it. And it's okay to have false memories, real events, scenarios playing away. Yes, to get under the chronic guilt and anxiety, we need to get under our philosophies there, but don't panic. Leave it be for now. I'm still stuck in a reassurance loop, always scared something is going to happen to people I care for. You will get stuck in reassurance loops, because that is the cycle of what happens with OCD. But it's about being aware, I'm stuck in a reassurance loop. What can I do to get out of this situation? Because what happens is people, they get in automatic mental reinsurance is going to happen. automatically because you're scared of something until the fear comes down. So you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to stop that until the fear comes down. That's going to play out automatically. Now, in relation to other reassurance, physical and sort of compulsions and all of that, you can stop those. You've got to be strict with that. You've got to come with a sort of quite a firm approach to that. But in terms of all these internal mental reassurance, that's completely out of your control. You've got to leave that to play out. Okay, that just has to go along. It's you trying to get rid of that. If you try too hard, if you can stop it, stop it. But if you can't, you've got to leave it to play. You've got to just leave it to play out. Okay, because it's only going to come down when the fear comes down. As the fear is still high, it's going to keep itself locked in a bit. So we've got to bring down the irrational beliefs, which are at the core of that, driving that anxiety cycle. And as we do that, then the mental reassurance is going to fade down. People often panic about that as well. Oh my God, I'm still mentally reassuring myself and I can't stop. That means I'm screwed. That means I'm stuck with OCD for the rest of my life. That's not true at all. You can be stuck with OCD for the rest of your life because you've got a mental compulsion that won't stop. That's not the case. What's the large driver there is not even so much the mental compulsion, it's the fear. I'd argue that the mental compulsion is playing a much less part than the fear is. So people get very scared then of compulsions. What if I'm doing some compulsions that I don't know about? What if I'm doing some reassurance that I've forgotten about? And people get very scared of that and scared of relapse. What if I relapse? And that's of course naturally going to happen. We do that, but we become too strict about it. We've got to live our life and go along with things as it is. Can't be, trying to apply perfectionism to our recovery, because that's the problem. Perfectionism in general is a bloody nightmare, let alone in recovery. So you want to watch that. My anxiety kicks in when my schedule is thrown off. Your schedule is going to get thrown off at times with life, family, maybe illness, maybe work commitments, anything. You can't have a rock-tight schedule unless you want to live like a hermit in a hut and just do everything yourself and not have anyone else involved in anything in your life. And it's going to be pretty boring, so you don't really want to go for that avenue. And even then, your schedule's not going to be strict. Maybe a bird will wake you up in the night or something. How to build up motivation when you feel tired from OCD. Want to live normally, Megan. Motivation. Well, think about it like this. If you were born in 1600, you would have had a terrible time with OCD because no one knew anything about it. And certainly wouldn't want to have been born then with OCD. Would have been a real bloody nightmare. So you're very lucky to be at this time, and you've got you've got so many things to help you to get better. Yeah, it's frustrating at times. Yes, you want it to get better, but alas, it is what it is, and if you've got a plan and what to do, you know that you can do it and take steps to get better. But you're going to be stuck at times. You're going to feel demotivated at times. Momin's got a video on that, on demotivation, on our YouTube channel. You're going to find that. Motivation's about thinking, right, well, I don't want to feel like this. What am I going to do to get better? How am I going to change my life? Someone else ain't going to change it for me. I've got to change it myself. So then it's thinking, right, what am I going to do to make that happen? What am I going to do to make that happen? Because I don't want to feel like this anymore. And then that's the driving force. Don't worry about living normally. Oh, other people are living normally. It's absolute crap. Other people aren't living normally. You just think they are because you don't know them. Like my post said yesterday, an old Alfred Adler quote there. And two is, what is normal? What is this so-called normal? Who are these normal people? The guy walking down the street, you don't know his life. You don't know what he's doing. And you don't know what other problems he's got. You've only got to look at the health statistics of different things. Pretty much everyone's got something. If they haven't got OCD, they might have Crohn's. If they haven't got Crohn's, they might have a very bad dyslexia. If they haven't got that, they might have a very bad sciatica. They might have whatever. The OCD sufferer will say, oh, but I don't love anything but that. Yeah, you might love anything but that, but you got this. So you've got to work with what you got. And I think that's crucial. With people, I work with people who've got OCD and cancer, as you can watch that Alfie video where you've got stage 4 bone cancer whilst having OCD. I mean, that's pretty difficult. So we've got to think of those things we're grateful for, and we've got to think of what opportunities we've got to get better. And we've got to look at that, and we've got to think, right, what can we do to go and achieve that? Because today we have such great resources to get better, with people all around us getting better, and great advice and support and so on. I didn't have that like you guys have that today. And I sometimes look at the stuff that's being done with OCD, and I think, God, this would have been a much better time to live in. But then probably what motivated me was not having it. So I thought, shit, I've got to go and get it. So it's a different. Sometimes what you've got to think of is, what can I bring to it? What can I do if I get better? Can I help people? Can I help other people's lives? So I've got to get better to change their lives, or I've got to get better to improve my life so I can do ... So we can find all different things that motivate you. Motivation for me came from just looking and thinking, right, I've got one life. I live on a rock floating through outer space. What can I do to get my life better? Because I've got this one opportunity living on this bloody rock. And how the hell am I going to get a better position now? And what can I do to improve that? And then when I came across the work of Albert Ellis, I thought how lucky I am to live at a time where I've come across Albert Ellis. And I can read his material to help me get better. And I can see that it makes sense, and fear is the fueling thing. And so those things were crucial. So there's so many reasons to get better, but don't feel bad that you feel demotivated. Sometimes you're going to feel it. Everyone does. I don't feel hyped up and motivated every day. I'm more motivated than a lot of people. Just sort of general personality's a bit like that. But I don't feel like that all the time. Sometimes I think, oh God, this is I don't want to have to. Well, what do I think I don't want to have to? I don't want to have to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym today. I can't be bothered to go to the gym. I can't be bothered to go to some party that someone's invited me to. I think, oh, do I really want to go? Hope that person's not watching this Instagram. Otherwise, I'm in trouble. But I accept that. And so you have to think these things. You've got to be motivated at times and not motivated at other times. What about when you're ill? I'm not exactly very motivated when I'm ill. When I'm ill, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to do anything apart from watch the TV, laptop, whatever. So you're going to have those days. So don't worry too much about that. It's part of the journey. It's what we all experience. Some days motivated, some days demotivated, part of the journey. OCD is tough as hell. OCD ain't easy. OCD wears you out. It's chronic, 24/7 on your back, going at you. So I know exactly what it's like. I know what it's like when you've got chronic back pain with OCD and stomach flare-ups with gastroesophageal reflux. All of this stuff going on all at the same time. So you've got to learn to roll with it. It's like any chronic condition. If people who are rolling with very bad Crohn's disease, colitis, they have to put up with loads of things all the time, going through in and out of hospital all the time, back and forth, which again anxiety sufferers are often doing when they're caught in the compulsion cycle. So the journey has got a lot of that. It's got a lot of that involved. It's not easy, it's difficult, it's very challenging. Anyone who says it's easy hasn't got a clue about OCD. It's a difficult journey, and recovery is difficult, but it's achievable. And if you work through it and you do the work, it changes your life. It changes your life in not just the way because you've lost the anxiety, but because you see the world very differently. It changes your perception of everything, brings you more at peace with everything. Most people are running around frantic all day long, chasing something without an understanding, with a step back to look at life philosophy and think, what the hell am I actually chasing? Right, let's have a look at some more of these questions. Blessed with the gift of opportunity, having OCD, absolutely. OCD, you've got to view it as a gift. I haven't had the best genetics in the family. I had OCD. When I recovered after that, I later had a slight OCD setback, and then I developed generalized anxiety disorder where I had chronic physical symptoms that wouldn't disappear. And that took a long time, even when there was no fears. And I talk about GAD on here. Then I've had, GAD was a nightmare because it was just sort of locked on, just free floating, and I felt very hopeless. So I had GAD. I had very bad stomach problems with gastroesophageal reflux, real damage to my stomach constantly. My father's got pretty much narcolepsy, so got a lot of sleep problems in the genes. Got a whole host of stuff. But in reality, compared to what other people have, I'm very lucky. I have other things, like nowadays, I never get ill, rarely, or I've had this eye infection. But apart from that, I have very rarely a flu and a cold I haven't had for maybe 3 years, I think. Probably that. probably about 3 years. I'll probably get sick tomorrow now after saying this. Not that I believe in saying things, be it happen, but you never know. And so I think that, yeah, I've had a pretty good, general overall health has been all right. I had very bad back pain for a long time. I damaged a disc, herniated disc in my back, so I lived with very bad back pain for a long time. So that wasn't great. That wasn't a genetic thing. That was from weight training and doing the wrong exercises when I was young that did that. But other than that, I'd say genetic, very bad stomach from the family. My father exactly the same. Anxiety, OCD and GAD, which were obviously very bad. So them. Sleep problems with my father, genetic, can't really change those. Not that I suffer from them. I sometimes get sleep affected, but it's usually my fault, not anxiety, but from working too late and throwing my sleep schedule off. But nothing really, always get sort of 8 hours sleep. But what other things do I have a problem with? You do sometimes experience anxiety in dreams that comes out of nowhere. Claire Weeks talks about that. I get that occasionally, not very often, where just suddenly I wake up and I'm sort of feeling physical anxiety. I think that's mainly because of the way the brain has interpreted some message or some old belief or signal that was in there when you're sort of subconsciously asleep. Claire Weeks used to talk about waking up anxious years and years after feeling better. That will occasionally happen. You're going to have that. You've got the genetic of OCD in there, so it's bound to happen at times. Apart from that, what else? Allergies, get a few allergies, but not really that bad. Get them on and off. No, otherwise health good. Otherwise health reasonably good. Yeah, no problems otherwise. But you've got to think of what people live with. People live with all kinds of chronic conditions. I see people that have got fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, OCD, GAD, PTSD, all at the same time. Very difficult. People with going through diseases that have developed OCD or anxiety as a result of the disease. Often see that. I see police officers with that have been in a very nasty crime, a nasty thing, and seen something very horrible. And at the time they saw that, it's then changed their sort of ignited OCD or GAD at the time, and that's been very difficult for them. So I've seen that. You see, all ranges. So you've got to think of all the things that people could have. I think that's important. What other things do I get? Just trying to think of things to relate to people, of stories. Probably, my physical health is good because I work out a reasonable amount, so I'm always reasonably fit. The only things that I really get is probably like with this eye infection, is bloody eye strain, working on the phone and the laptop all the time. I've got to get some of those glasses for working on a computer with like the sort of blue lens. But that's the only thing that they tell me when I go to the opticians, working way too much on screens. So I get eye strain quite a bit from that, which isn't good. And I wonder, maybe that was the result of where I got that, maybe that eye infection just from working too much on a computer. Apart from that, muscle tightness, but I do a lot of stretching. I have massage and physio reasonably, so I don't have too many injuries. Keep reasonably fit most of the time. Eat reasonably healthy. I still drink alcohol. Some nights I drink quite a bit. Some nights I don't. I don't drink every day. I cut out alcohol for many years at one point because I was drinking. I didn't have a drinking problem, but I was going out 3-4 times a week. I was hungover too much, and with the amount I was working and doing, it was very difficult to operate with all of that going on. So I decided to give up alcohol for 3-4 years. But now I drink occasionally, just socially, a social thing. Don't need it. I could easily cut it out again for a couple of years. Any other things? I think it's always interesting to hear other people's stories when you talk about motivation and see other things that people go through. I wouldn't say my neck, because I've got a herniated disc in there, is particularly great. It's never ideal. Even when I'm just sitting here on this couch, I can feel it. I can feel it's causing a problem when I do these Instagram lives for a bit too long and I'm holding this thing. I know people message me and say I've got to get something to hold the phone. I haven't yet, but I definitely do. What other things? Do that? Yeah, that's about it really. I think, yeah, genuinely right. Now, when I used to have OCD and anxiety, really bad anxiety, before the GAD, and that was going on a lot, I used to get flu all the time. I used to get colds all the time because I was sort of really run down. I used to what else did I get? Obviously, stomach problems, really bad acid reflux all the time. I went through a period of a couple of years where I was just getting one illness after the other. Infections. I got loads of skin infections, horrible. I got one in my foot. I had staphylococcus infection in the foot that just came from a tiny cut, and that was horrible. I couldn't even walk. Then I had cellulitis in the leg, but that luckily got stopped with antibiotics. That wasn't good. Again, those were skin related to. I had eczema. I have eczema, but it never flares up much. I had eczema bad at the time because anxiety was flaring it up. And then I scratched it, and then it got infected both times. That was really not nice. I had that in the nose as well. That got badly infected. I was on antibiotics for 7 months, so that was a horrible. Though that wasn't in relation to OCD and anxiety. That was a different time actually, and that was a couple of years back. I just got that from an infection. So. Yeah, that was the last time I actually noticed myself have any sort of illnesses. Was about 2.5 years ago. But then I had what other things did I have? Trying to think. Yeah, I used to have a lot of things with in relation to anxiety. Lots of illnesses, lots of. Neck and muscle strain. So because all the muscles were tight all around the stomach and the back and the neck, and they were locked on all the time, I used to find that because of that situation, with them so locked on, I would constantly be pulling things. I did write an article about this on the Instagram page, all about the different things I had. Gum infections at times I had very, very badly. All things because just of how worn down I was. You know, every day you woke up, you're very tired, you're worn out. It's like you've been fighting a war in your head 24/7. You wake up, alarm clock goes off or whatever. As soon as that happens, bang, your first 2 hours, you've got cortisol pumping in, anxiety pumping in. You 2 hours, you're absolutely drained, you're absolutely dead. By about 12:30, you think, shit, I want to go to bed. And you've just started the day and people are saying, how are you feeling? You've got the energy for today, and you certainly did not have it. And that was like that for years, especially with chronic guilt relating to harm and false memory, real event OCD in the past, locked on all the time, just hammering away. Now, let's get back to these questions. I've gone a bit off topic here. After I've accepted and rationalised everything, I'm upset for about 2 to 3 weeks. Well, that's because you're obviously trying to force it, and that's not acceptance, because you wouldn't be upset for 2 to 3 weeks, and you're obviously not under it rationally, because it wouldn't be causing that. So you're learning it, but you're probably trying to hammer it into your head, and you haven't seen it yet. It takes time and practice. It's not something that you can force. Chronic guilt, unconditional self-acceptance is key. Best to start with the first book on the reading list by founder of CBT, Albert Ellis, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything. OCD hits at night just in relation to brain chemistry at that time of the evening. Self-acceptance is accepting yourself as a fallible human being, just as you are, no other reason. Please answer. Posted many questions, never got a reply. You can only ask the questions on these Instagram lives. Due to the number of questions we get sent a day, which is hundreds, I can't respond to those questions. You can ask them in the Facebook group, which is a free support group that's there, so you can ask any questions. And on these Instagram lives, you can ask anything for free. When we experience an OCD thought, we accept it. Yes, humans that walk down the street, normal humans as we see them, they just leave thoughts. They're not trying to think, what do I do with this thought? What do I do with that thought? The problem that you've got is you're not accepting of those thoughts. You're trying to force them away and scared of them. But we often need to bring the fear of them down, the content down, so that we become less scared of them being there. Rob, can you tell me if I should take medication? No, I can't. You have to speak to your doctor about medication. Groinal responses in relation to POCD, please watch the groinal responses video on the YouTube channel that went up this week and Oliver's video on POCD and guilt. I just lay in bed for 8 hours to get up one thought. Well, laying in bed for 8 hours is not the solution, although it can feel like it at times. You need to get up, you need to get on, you need to move with life, and you need to bring it for the ride because that's what's going to help it. Lying in bed all day is not going to do it. It's going to help it, but to get under it, we need to look at the fears and we need to work on acceptance, which takes time and practice and what. Unconditional self-acceptance, the best things to do are to watch Albert Ellis's video on YouTube, to read the first book, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything, and The Myth of Self-Esteem. Great places to start. If I don't resolve this right now, I'll be anxious forever. That is fear of fear. There's some good videos on fear of fear on the YouTube channel. Check those out. You do not need to do something immediately to get rid of it this second. You're scared of being stuck forever. That's the problem. Is online therapy as good as a regular one? Well, it doesn't make any difference whether it's online or face-to-face. The same thing. Some people might say that you lose a bit of the connection by not being online versus face-to-face, but I would argue that I don't think it's really essential because it's mainly the information that you're learning that changes the perspectives. I don't think, maybe from a sort of Carl Rogers perspective in the past, yes, they often like that, but I'm pretty sure Albert Ellis would argue it's only the information that you're learning that become the instruments for change in your mind. So, I mean, I can't see it would make any difference. Any therapy that I had in the past, a lot of it was done by phone, and everything else was taught, read, and practiced. So I don't think it comes down to you getting enough of a connection through film and phones, as we know through this COVID time. So technology is very good now. Can porn addiction cause OCD? No, but anxiety can lead to porn addiction because the brain's looking for a way out to feel comfortable. So anything that's addictive, it can easily get into, like gambling and porn. So we definitely need to watch those. Great. I think that's covered quite a few of those questions. I hope I didn't go too far off topic today, but there's quite a lot of things that I wanted to cover. I will see you guys in the next Instagram live, which will probably be up in the next 2 to 3 days. I will see you then. All right, guys, take it easy. Bye.